Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor S.P. Singh from Faculty of Management Studies, Gurukul Kangdi University, Haridwar. Today we are going to study Module 34 on employee participation. Friends, after studying this module, you shall be able to know the concept of employee participation, understand the philosophy of employee participation, enumerate objectives of employee participation, become aware of the levels of employee participation, and know the participative management in India. In its broad sense, employee participation means associating representatives of workers at every stage of decision making. It is a process by which workers share in decision making, extends beyond the decisions that are implicit in the particular contents of their job. Participative management may be taken to cover all terms of association of workers and their representatives in the process of decision making, from exchange of information, consultation, decisions and negotiations to more institutionalized forms. The concept of participative management can be more clearly understood in the context of philosophy underlying the schools. From the beginning of modern industrial era, social thinkers in the factory organization and society concluded that in order to prevent workers from being exploited by managers, workers should have equal power to the managers. Thinkers such as Saint Simon, Charles Fourier, and Robert Owen advocated participation of workers in management for achieving distributive social justice. Robert Owen preached the philosophy of cooperative endeavor in production. Karl Marx advocated complete socialization of production as the only method of putting an end to the concentration of wealth and eliminating the exploitation of workers by the owners of capital. Under this approach, all the enterprises are owned by the state and the workers themselves constitutes the management. Therefore, the remedy was for the workers to destroy this state and put up proletarian state. This approach bends more towards workers' control rather than that of the workers' participation, as it contemplates workers as management itself. France was the original home of syndicalism, blending anarchist communism with trade unionism in its most popular time. The doctrine was responsible for the movements for workers' control in countries as far as Norway and Austria. Anarchism is the father of syndicalism, but trade unionism is its mother. Syndicalism had two distinct aspects: a policy of direct action against capitalism, a general strike to overthrow the system, and a vision of the future society. Syndicates agreed that after nationalization and actual administration of the various industries and services, production would be in the hands of the organized workers through the trade unions. They proposed that direct producers will exercise the control of production. Sometimes later they gave up the idea of separate ownership of industries by workers. Instead, they put forward the idea of the federation of the various groups of industries managed by a general council to regulate and distribute in the interests of the producers in general. The philosophy is applicable mainly in Britain, Japan and America. Alan Flaunder, Clegg and others are the main profounder. According to this approach, collective bargaining is the mode of participation and is the method of solving the disputes between management and the workers by negotiation. Conflict is endemic in an industrial organization, so it is the responsibility of the workers or the union to oppose the management's proposal. It is the objective of the other to oppose it, and so with the result, negotiations start and common matters are settled in between. It is the prime function of the trade unions to protect the interests of the workers in this perennial conflict. Integrative approach of business in the present age, in contrast to past, a trade union has become essentially a social organization looking after the all-round interests of workers as a social group. The trade union must play the positive role of sharing in the development of industry and of preparing and training workers to discharge their responsibilities as citizens. The industry has certain responsibilities to fulfill towards the employee, the shareholders, the consumers and the community, and above all towards the nation. To the employees, it must offer fair and appropriate conditions of service and opportunity for industrial development, satisfaction of the urge for status, dignity and fellowship. Participation signifies workers' identification with the progress and development of business, the managing ability of all employees is an untapped source of social wealth. Participation aims at utilizing the intimate knowledge and experience possessed by workers as a result of direct daily contact with processes and operation carried out in a business. This knowledge can be invaluable assistance to management. Participation that rests on understanding between workers and management is an important but delicate task. Gandhi believed that all money and property originally belongs to society and those who are possessing it are only the trustees of the society whose duty is to increase the earning and value of the trust property. He should charge only that much from the trust property as is absolutely essential for his subsistence and honorable living. Excess of one's income over and above once is a social surplus to be employed for the benefit of the society. Breach of trust is a crime and is punishable under law. Under the trusteeship theory of Gandhi, certain limited property rights are admissible. The various objectives of participative management may be categorized under certain major heads, like ethical or moral objectives are related to promote individual development and the extension of individuals' human rights at the workplace and to bring the workers' recognition, treatment and attention as a human being rather than as a mere statistical unit of production. Socio-political objectives put forward the principles of democratic self-government within the economy on the ground that since in a democratic system, workers have the same political rights as other citizens, it seems odd that they should not be entitled to a say within the undertakings where they are employed in decisions which directly concern them. The social objectives are mostly confined to improving the atmosphere in the undertaking and promoting better relations between management and personnel, and also the fuller integration of workers into the operation of the undertaking. Economic objectives are related directly or indirectly to increasing the efficiency of the undertaking. They are based on the assumption that by associating the workers with the decisions taken or by using sufficiently the knowledge, experience and intelligence of those who actually do the work, the quantity and quality of output and the utilization of labor, raw materials and equipment, as well as the introduction of new techniques, the industrial organization and methods and the labor relations are improved and the areas of conflict between management and labor are reduced. Workers' participation is possible at all levels of management. Generally, this depends on the nature of the functions that are performed, the strength of the workers, the number and variety of departments in an organization, and the attitude of the trade union and of the management. Broadly, there are 4 levels of participation. Informative participation is at the initial level where members are entitled to receive information and give opinion on matters of general economic importance like the state of market, production and sales program, reorganization of production methods and processes, and general running of the undertaking. Conditions affecting the economic situation of the undertaking, manufacturing methods and work, the annual balance sheet, profit and loss statement, and connected documents, policy changes concerned with production schedules and production, long-term plans for expansion, modernization, diversification, and redevelopment, disciplinary action, and such other matters as may be agreed upon. In consultative participation, the representatives of the workers are consulted by the management on matters relating to administration of the standing orders and their amendment, introduction of new methods and techniques of production, fixation of production norms of man and machine at the unit as a whole. Compared to informative participation, this is superior and involves a higher degree of sharing the views of the members and giving them an opportunity to express their feelings. Through administrative participation at a greater degree of share in the authority and responsibility in the management functions is provided in matters like administration of welfare measures, supervision of safety measures, fines and welfare funds, operation of vocational training and apprenticeship schemes, preparation of schedules of working hours, breaks and holidays, payment of rewards for valuable suggestions received from workers, and any other matter as may be agreed upon by 2 parties. It is the highest level of participation where workers are given an opportunity to take part in decision-making activities. Thus, participative management means participation by all classes of employees in all functions of an industry, right from the stage of policy making till the final stage of its implementation. The participation at different levels will be of different types. At the execution level, all the workers connected with the job will participate in formulating a plan for its efficient execution. In the middle level, different groups of workers will be represented by their duly elected representatives, while at the highest level, policy and planning level, the workers will be represented by the man or group of men selected by different groups at all the levels. Friends, in this module, you have studied the concept, the philosophy, objectives, and the levels of employee participation. Thanks for visiting EPG Pathshala.